32 is the identity.
We were kind of stuck in neutral, and I thought it was a good idea to hand the play calling over to Bill Lazor.
Loses the football, strip sack, and a take.
Bears our life. Bears our life. We go online right after Bears games with your boys draft talking the smartest man alive. Bears our life. Bears our life. We go on live right after Bears games with your boys draft talking the smartest man alive. Ran up with the true analysis you expect. Raw passion for the show. Bear fans get nothing less. Locked in with real emotion and passion for every play. Coach Phil gonna bring that range, but in with facts my shade. Post game show like nothing else you're gonna hear. Some can try to copy, but a bucket's not sincere. Delivering the truth on what just happened, to be clear. That's why we're on TV, so you can see it, not just hear. Hey, yo, with Draft Dr. Phil, you know it's always hit sticks. Splitting double T's like 96 Hakeem Hicks. You can tell the shit matters. A bit love can be felt. Critical of Nagy cause the talent he's been dealt. As our life keeps growing, Shane's all knowing. Delivering the truth on how the QB's throwing. Dimes on time, just lacking fundamental. Whatever the case, we get hot like Cecil. Fiery discussion about what happened in the game. This ain't your daddy's postgame, don't expect the fucking flame. Not for the average fan, a loss they can survive.
But don't you worry.
Bears Hour Live.
Bears Hour Live. Bears Hour Live. We go on live right after Bears
I don't think we're that much worse.
The myth, the red legend, Dr. Phil Ototion.
Because teams realize, hey, we gotta stop Matt.
When you put that much into it, you don't let that. And the guy next to you says, "You son of a bitch, you better block." That's what happens. That's when you have a real good team.
And let's get it on.
This is Bears Hour Live.
Happy Mitch Trubisky Day, Chicago Bears fans. Bears head into week 2 of the preseason. Get their asses handed to them again on national TV like we're all used to, 41-15. I think the questions are going to be out there, obviously. We want to see how Justin Fields comes back from getting hit in that same hip. That's something I think we're going to want to pay real close attention to because he didn't look like he was loving life too much. But I think we saw a lot of business decisions out there on defense, especially. I saw some, questionable coaching decisions along the way. Also, even though it's preseason, you want to get your young guys valuable reps rather than just going super vanilla on everything. But not a lot of good did come out of this game. Like I said, Bears drop 41-15 to Buffalo. Speed discrepancy is blinding with the overall roster when you watch the two teams. But I think everybody's buckled up and ready to hear the DDP rant that is incoming here. So let's roll with that. DDP, take it away.
What's up, Shane? I mean, guys, here it is in a nutshell. I come from football, and football is my life. So everybody's going to have their opinions. So I'm going to share my rant. As a coach, I believe you prepare the entire football team to play a game. So with that and the whole understanding that there is a Justin Fields on the roster that's like got this electricity to him, and you saw it in the first week, and you know it since you've drafted him that he's going to be the franchise signal caller. With the blame you put on Mitch, and everything became the perfect storm of stupidity when it comes to Coach Nagy, because he doesn't have his team prepared. The team is a reflection of a head coach. My father taught me that as I took the controls to be a head coach. So to put Andy Dalton out there without your starters, Mooney, Allen fucking Robinson sitting over there, David Montgomery, I don't care. 2 series. You go out there and you prepare your football team. This is the same kind of shit as bubble wrap gate 2 years ago with Mitch, all the starters. Let's drive golf carts out there to play a football game in front of your fans. I don't care what anybody else says. Here, I'm telling you, you prepare this football team to go out there because business decisions are unacceptable. From Eddie to Robert Quinn to the offensive tackles to the running backs to the offensive linemen to the special teams. You could have Special Olympics out there and seen better effort. The reality is this is a wake-up call. Unfortunately, this isn't Matt Nagy's first go-round. This isn't. That's why it's so disappointing. And it's unfair to Andy Dalton. It's unfair. It's unfair to the entire football team, and it's unfair to the city of Chicago. And this is what I said. You're going to have the Ross Tuckers and all these other fuckers about Charles fucking Leno. He's gone. He sucks. He sucks in Washington. That story's over, but it's going to be another story. It's going to be another story, right? Because you got the worst story that everybody's overlooking except this network, and that's Matt Nagy. He's in way over his head. You are not the play caller. You are not the play caller. You hear it in Bears Hour Live Open. Focus on being the head coach. Focus on being the leader of men. You're going to come out here and laugh and explain away an embarrassment. I don't care. It's the second preseason game. No! Get your guys out there for 2 series. 2. Playing with fire and passion. The crowd is chanting, "We want Justin. We want Justin." The city is booing, fairly or not, Andy Dalton. And you know who's responsible? The fucking bald-headed fuck of negativity. That's who's responsible. Because he's not prepared. This moment is big. It's big because you know somebody's waiting in the batter's box that's a home run hitter. And that's Justin Fields. So you're setting up Andy and your whole freaking team to fail because you're not putting your goddamn starters out there. You think it's fair to Andy? It's not. It's not. And it fucking toppled over backwards. Because you got overwhelmed by the Buffalo Bills at home. And granted, this is preseason. This doesn't count. This is a glorified scrimmage. But I'm speaking to him. Matt Nagy is a horrible head coach. He's got horrible preparation. We all know. My father's talked about it. We've had Olin Kreutz talk about it. We've had every analyst that speaks truth of Steve Edwards talking about it. He just throws plays up there and nothing goes against and counters whatever play you have. So trips right one play, I formation the next, bubble screen over here. Let's throw curls. I said I get so frustrated. The city of Chicago, Lawrence Funk, he had a chair for Matt Nagy's curls. Let's do curls all day. Attack down the field. Don't run with a 30-year-old running back like Shane said. Get 1-2 care, first series, give it to Damian. Get David Montgomery out there if he's not hurt. Then take him out. This is what you do. You prepare your team for the season. Now you're way behind. You are overwhelmed. You are embarrassed. And now you as a head coach have the responsibility to turn this around. How you're going to do it is because of your piss poor planning. Piss poor. Tackling, all of that stuff is a reflection of him. Because it's okay to worry about Greg Braggs and whoever else filming practice. But maybe the Buffalo Bills allow every fan to film practice because they keep their players accountable on Front Street. On Front Street. Go in there, Eddie, and wrap up. Stop them and hold them to a field goal, and then you can stand on the sideline like a Pro Bowl football player and watch the young kids. That's what this is about. But you're going into the season with all these flags of unknown, and it starts with the quarterback because you can't figure out play Allen Robinson and his $18 million. If he gets hurt, that's part of the fucking game of football. You don't bubble wrap these guys. James Daniels isn't out there. How many of them are out there? 3 series, 2 series, whatever. He's talked about it, but he's never about it, Shane. We got to get these guys calloused up. Got to get them calloused up. But nobody's out there to help get you prepared for the season. And listen, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking at all. I'm just telling you, Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 50-0 in a preseason game. The Pittsburgh Steelers go on to win the Super Bowl. This is okay in regards to the scoreboard and everything. Inside the dynamics of the games is preparation and want to. You want to tackle, you will tackle. You want to block, you will block. It's about effort. And there was a lot of business decisions on both sides of the football. And it starts with the pedigree of preparedness. And that is on the head coach, Shane. And that is my rant. I'm just so fired up here. So fired up, Shane. I don't know. It's an embarrassment. Like you said, I had national TV. I don't care if it was just in Chicago. It's so frustrating that you and I have experienced this football team over and over and over again. And then, you know what? I saw Rashad Cool Kennedy's, I don't know what he's talking about, but I see Javon Wims. He didn't play 1 rep. If he's sitting out because he made the fucking team, you're going to see a rant like you've never freaking seen before in any history. Someone fucking fly me to Hallis Hall because I will get thrown out of there because I will go down in the history of, I could never ever imagine that Javon Wims didn't see a rep because he's made this roster. And if that's the case, get rid of Nagy and the collaboration crew right now. Right now. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm not quite as fired up as Phil is, but I mean, I am upset. I'm not going to get into the play calling in week 2 of a preseason game and stuff like that. But in terms of the personnel, I do. I know you want to say that everybody's on a level playing field. They are not. Do I need to see Roquan Smith out there? No, I don't. But it bothers me when you have a young guy like Darnell Mooney. I understand, yeah, he's a big part of this offense, but Darnell Mooney's not there yet to get the Allen Robinson or the Roquan or the Danny Trevathan or the Darnell Mooney's not out there playing, but you can put 52 out there. Really? You know what I mean?
Well,
you see
sides.
where there's no real rhyme. Do we really need to see Akeem Hicks out there? At that point, but Darnell Mooney's on the sideline doing interviews because you're an important piece.
Dane.
No. That's
those guys are out there. Why isn't Andy Dalton's? Every weapon
you hear about how the defense is always so much further ahead than the offense. And they're going to gel quicker. I understand that, but then give your offense some of these valuable reps. Why can't I go out there and see Justin Fields throwing to Darnell Mooney in a preseason game? Why not? Why can't I see Justin Fields working with Cole Kmet, with Jimmy Graham?
Exactly.
You brought Andy Dalton in here to be the veteran, steady influence. And you say part of it is we don't have to worry about Andy. Well, then if you don't have to worry about Andy Dalton, then let the kid play and build a rapport with these guys. But they're too good. Like I said, the Darnell Mooney shit bothers me, Phil, because fans themselves are treating this guy like he's Randy Moss. He's a good player. He may ascend and be, Deshaun Jackson 2.0. I can't sit here and say that I'm right or wrong about that, but what he doesn't deserve the veteran treatment. Cole Kmet doesn't deserve it right now. Put these guys out there and let them play. And it's, we sat there and watch every snap on defense. Your linebackers are turning the opposite way and just going backwards and everything. How does Mitch do well? You don't attack him at all. You know what I mean? Everything is there. There was zero push in the middle. It was, everything was totally vanilla. And I almost hated to look at Bears Twitter because they're like, oh, Mitch is carving these guys up. Well, yeah, it was set up exactly for that. Yeah, you're goddamn right. It was.
When you're just sitting there and you're running slants and you're doing everything that we've talked about, what makes Mitch really good, what he can do, the Dabo is doing it over there.
I didn't see people talking about when Mitch had a guy with a defender beat on a deep ball and Mitch sailed it about 5 yards over his head.
Yeah,
have we ever seen that before?
Well,
no,
I think
but
the commentators were trying, Jim Miller and Amin were trying to say, well, every one of these has been 6 yards or less. But at the end of the day, the story is going to be written about Mitch and how he carves them up, because the Bears did sit there and allow him to be successful in doing those things. I mean, if you're going to sit there and play soft zone and allow guys to get in front of you, that's going to happen. And he made those throws. Listen, this network prides itself on the tape. We always have said, what you do with Mitch is what you saw. Boo, straight drop, 3-step game, get the slants going, and Mitch is going to be successful. That's not the story. This is, how many preseasons have I watched shitty Bears football only to see, okay, now the lights go on. That is a difference. The real story to me is Coach Nagy and these coaches. The terrible preparation. For you to say on one hand, well, Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, all of these guys are out there to start the game, but the offensive guys aren't. To me, that's just showcase of stupidity. And the guy who came here to be an offensive genius, the guru, the guy who wasn't a play caller, doesn't understand running, the same stupid shit is going on. It's like you don't go into the ocean when you've been bitten by a shark before. I mean, I just don't see it. I could never do it. If I got attacked by the shark, as much as I love the ocean, I'd never be going swimming there again. It's just the reality. Here we are swimming with the same shark called Matt Nagy. He's calling play. That offense just looks so out of sorts, so unprepared. And I don't have words for it. Again,
let me ask you this, Phil, just as a, obviously a coach, and your dad can speak on this too, but as a general observer, do you not notice the difference in the offense when Justin Fields is in there?
Oh my God. It's a much,
but that's what you see what I'm saying? There's a sizable difference to me just in watching it. And, if this offensive line is going to continue to be a huge issue, to me, it's already made up. How do you not play Justin Fields, even if Andy Dalton is the savvy veteran? I mean, you saw a guy that the Bears are going to be counting on. Jason Peters is going to be coming in next week in Tennessee to get they're not going to give him a ton of reps against the Titans in, preseason week 3, the finale. Larry Borum stepped up today, but
he played pretty good.
Yeah, Elijah Wilkinson, huge question marks.
Took a
Pick Simmons today was awful, I thought, at first glance. So if you're going to help those guys out, and Coach Toshin Sr., you can talk to this. If you have to help out your offensive line, Justin Fields is the guy to do that. Do you agree with that? You're on mute, Coach.
We can't hear you again, Dad. He's on mute. He'll have to come back in. But to your point, you could just see the electricity of obviously the fans, but the players. We talked about this last week, the energy and the excitement that these players have when he's in there. You could just see the difference. And to my point, Shane, as a coach, you've tried, it all starts there. Like, don't ignore Michael Jordan on a basketball field or basketball court, rather. You can't. The game just doesn't seem big to Justin Fields.
No, he's very, you see it in everything, Phil. You see it in his footwork. You see it in the way that he's.
You hear me now?
We got you, Coach.
There you go,
Oh,
Coach.
my God.
It's okay.
I was looking at Borum, and I said, he's playing left tackle. And I was thinking about that last week, telling you. I said, why can't he play left? You know? And I'm telling you right now, that guy fits in. But you're getting this guy from Philadelphia. He's going to be a left tackle.
Right.
And I think he will make a very good right tackle, this kid. But anyway, yes. And I think you're going to solidify that line somehow. It's going to happen. And you don't know all the ins and outs, and don't be spurting out. I don't feel like spurting out and saying this guy's wrong and that guy's wrong. The things I see that are more important than anything else is field position, kicking game. They were terrible, terrible. Every phase of it. And the other thing is tackling. I thought tackling was the worst I've seen. But you know something, you got to give Buffalo credit because they got great speed at receivers, and we do too. But they weren't in the game.
Right.
So you're going to get, you understand, you to be a successful team, you got to stretch the field vertically. You got to go vertically to get the spaces in between. And if you don't do that, you don't get it. And then you also need to pass protect so you get time to throw that deep ball, which is like 3 seconds.
To bear truth now, every phase of this game, besides the field goal kicking game, is in question. And here's my point, Dad. I set it up like this. Buffalo doesn't have a question about their offensive identity, and they don't have a question about who their quarterback is. The Chicago Bears do. And thus they've handed this deliberate narrative that Andy's QB1. And Justin, who clearly has the whole city by the cojones, as well as his teammates, all electrified. It doesn't seem bigger. See, as a coach, you've done a disservice to your whole city, your whole franchise, by not doing what any coach should do. We got an open competition. The competition is going to make this team with all of these question marks better, because we can't see Andy with the speed and the Allen Robinson that you're paying $18 million, because we're afraid that he might get hurt. And that is the head coach's decision. It's not Ryan Pace's decision. You know, there's a moment, Shane, in the game after where this kid's limping. He's limping, and he's still out there. So you're going to be tough with your future, but you're not tough with your now. And that right there is the evidence for anybody to see that this guy, Matt Nagy, just doesn't get it. What you should have did, open competition. We signed you, Andy, but we didn't know we were going to get a chance at Justin Fields. Now we got a chance to win. So the best man wins. That's life. That's fucking football. That's baseball. That's every sport I know. But in Chicago, we're going to give it to Andy. And we're also going to give Andy no fourth gear. We'll give you second gear. You go out there and run in second gear. And then we fall flat on our face. We're embarrassed. But behind the scenes, I'm going to tell Khalil Mack, Makeem Hicks, and all these guys, don't worry. We're going to get better. That just doesn't work. is over his head. I don't care how anybody spins this. Yes, I agree with you, Dad. They're going to get this offensive line right. There's some pieces that are out there that'll fit and they'll get cohesive. Because Borum, you're going to get Peters. I was very impressed with our guy Dieter at guard. I was just watching him play guard the whole time. I was very impressed with him. There's other players on the line that you're going to be impressed with. We didn't get to see James Daniels, Shane. So these pieces are going to come together, and you're going to get your best 5 there. That's not the worry. The worry is Andy Dalton working with Allen Robinson. Why is that not happening? Mooney, Shane's 100% right. Mooney's a rookie. In his head, he needs that rep to get popped, get caught, make the juke, get popped. What are we saving this for? Everybody and their brother knows who Darnell Mooney is in the league. Get him out there. Allow your quarterback to have the proper presentation to prepare himself. The preparedness, it's all about that for me right now. I don't care what the score is. It's finding those 53 players that you're going to take on your journey, plus 10 on the practice squad to win the NFC North. That's what it is. And right now, you're playing like you're the fucking 1992 San Francisco 49ers. You just came off a Super Bowl, and now all of a sudden, we're going to sit Jerry Rice out. Jerry Rice is a fucking all-pro. So, yeah, sit him out in the second, whatever it is. This today is the coaching and having the reflection of that guy out there, the piss poor tackling, Dad. What is tackling in the NFL? What is tackling in the NFL? It's fucking effort. That's what it is. Let's just all be honest. Effort. When you don't have effort because you're safe, you don't got to worry. It's just a preseason game.
Well, you know something, special teams it's very important. A lot of coaches don't say it is. Or they say it is, but they don't act on it. But
right.
Think about all the coverages, the kickoff, the punts. Those guys made 20 to 30 yards on every one of those things.
God.
Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then I looked at the people. There was the last punt I saw today. I was looking at there was 3 guys that don't belong on there. I can't remember their numbers. But I got to tell you, they're too
47.
slow. They're too slow. They can't. There's no way they should be on those teams.
You know what, Dad?
You got to have speed and aggressiveness.
The punt coverage and everything was awful. But there was an interview today with Matt Nagy, and I got to hear him. And he was all excited because Sean Desai is holding players accountable. That was him being excited about his defensive coordinator. That was the thing that you're the head coach. Aren't you doing the same? Like, what world am I in? Like, Dad, you raised me in this game. Everybody and their brother, all the way down to the fucking water boy, knew that if Coach Atoshin said it, you better fucking get it done. There is none of that there. There's Andy Dalton smiling after an interception. There's everybody walking around, and we all are waiting for Justin Fields to fix this. That's what this is. And Justin is like Mitch. Mitch saved Matt Nagy's job. I don't care what anybody says. Justin Fields is overcoming the stupidity and the disgustingness of Matt Nagy. It's evident. There was clear showcase when Bill Lazor took over play calling last year that he understands how to put players in positions that they do well, that they do. That's what you need. Matt Nagy, no. He's never been an offensive coordinator, but for 1 year glorified under Andy Reid, and he was awful. And he gets this head coaching job because he says all the right fucking corporate world things. And it's never changed. It just hasn't. And today was a showcase. Preparedness, unprepared. That should be the headline. Preparedness, unprepared.
Usually when you go into you've been practicing all week.
Yeah.
All right?
All season.
And you get to know the strengths and weaknesses of their players. Then you come in the coach's room and you talk about the things that you need to work on against this team, not plays just to run against this team, because that's what you're doing. Everybody's got to be on the same page, and I don't think that happened. That's not what I see on any phase of the game. I don't see that.
I agree.
And
with you.
I just very disappointed. I want to see you succeed here, and I was disappointed.
There he is.
There he is.
He's just selling shoes, Shane. He's selling shoes. Shane, you've been around this team. I mean, I gotta say, I don't think the expectation of this team today was to see that performance out there. What about you?
Oh no, how can you say that was the expectation? I mean, Phil, we talk about a guy like Khalil Mack. You know, there's a lot of fans that'll look at sack numbers and say, "Oh, he didn't have 2.5 sacks, so he had a shitty game." We know that's not the case. But I watched him out there today, literally just have his hands straight out, and I understand. Yeah, it's preseason, a guy like that. But if you're on the fucking field, then you better fucking play.
I've never seen that till that day. Because you know what? I really believe this message is, let's go out there.
But Phil, it reminds me of
don't get hurt.
Yeah, it reminds me of
thank you.
2018. The Bears lost on the double doink. Everybody knows that. And then it wasn't about hard work and getting better. It was about next step is just automatically going to come. You saw it with a guy like Anthony Miller. You saw it with the entire organization. It was all Super Bowl talk at the Bears 100. It was, all right, the next step is automatically going to come, and we're going to the Super Bowl. This is where we're at. Remember 202? Well, Mitch wasn't ready for 202. Obviously.
Nobody was.
Yeah, nobody was. And that's the part that really, really concerns me. Like Iggy Abunaway, so you're in year 4, and you have zero instincts when it comes to football. There's none. When he's out there playing, playing on defense, maybe on special teams he can make some plays. But no. I mean, Jesus.
You're 100%. Oh my God.
And I saw somebody in the chat room say that Pig Simmons played well today. I don't know what you were watching, if you believe that. I thought Simmons struggled all day long today.
I saw him struggle. I mean, my boy Wilkinson had some 2 terrible reps, like Leno-esque reps. He's got to be better.
He's lucky he didn't get hurt on that one. He got folded in half.
He got folded, I'm sure.
Not as bad as Justin Fields did, but
first of all, that play was disgusting, and that guy should have got thrown out of the game for hitting him right here under the chin.
This speaks to a bigger issue, Phil. We talked about it in the private chat that we had. There is, how is the training staff how are they not checking him for concussion or at least bringing him off for a play? Helmet came off, headband came off, and I mean, he's got that hair that it's not really an afro, but it goes out like that. I mean, that even flew off underneath the helmet. And I think Caden posted a picture in the DM of Justin Fields' face right after the hit, and it's like, holy shit. I mean, that was, I think Barlissimo talked about it a little bit. That was one of the hardest hits that I've seen in a very long time.
I said that's going to be on fucking Sports Center all week because it's just it's a cheap shot, number one, but it's an explosive.
And then right after that, Phil, Ryan Cox was watching live. He's like, oh man, he's holding his hip. And that's the same hip from the Clemson game. Same thing, same exact hip. He was holding it in the same exact spot. And this could be
in the game.
Yeah.
That when he ever started limping as the coach, I was saying to my son, because Tate is all about Justin, you got to take him out now. They kept him out there. I was shocked.
Yeah, so was I.
Shocked. I also want to go back because we were at halftime on the patron side. My father didn't agree with me, but I believe I would have fought hard to get Justin out there before the half to run the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
I just want him out there with those first team.
First
They're not
game
even
guys.
first team guys. So you're probably right, Dad, because we got a fucking moron as a head coach
And if you
that allows
look,
this shit to
if
happen.
you look back on that 2-minute
There it
drill,
is, Shane. He's just like looking at the ground.
and you notice that headband's not there anymore.
The
'cause it's
headband
about
flew into the
10
air.
yards, behind him.
Holy shit.
But Phil, in terms
was
of
a
that
hit.
2-minute drill, Andy, I don't know. I know that the receiver fell, but that ball was so errant. I mean, there was, I think, 4 Bills players there when they showed it on the replay. You didn't even see the Bears wide receiver at the time in the vision of the camera. So I said I was like, oh man. And then, like, to your point, Andy Dalton's smiling.
Look, I think he's smiling. I'm just reading it.
Just like, yeah, this
He's
is one
like,
of those
you
days.
Motherfucking got to slip there. You're supposed to run the dig, and I'm throwing to that spot, and now I look like an asshole. It's one of those days. That's what I'm reading into it. Now, that's the only way you can, because I don't think Andy's the type of guy that's laughing at misery.
No.
Because, Dad, I mean, obviously we're going to get to the head coach. Barlissimo's having some internet issues, Shane. So
yeah,
he's trying to get back. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah, miraculously the Matt Nagy hasn't. I don't know if he hasn't taken the podium yet, but the Bears aren't making that available anywhere right now.
Because he's probably in addressing the team still.
Right. Maybe he's putting on a bulletproof vest right now.
I think he needs to put on this play sheet of his, return to sender, and give Bill Lazor the play call. There's something about, let me say this. This was my question to you, Dad. There's names that you know as head coaches because they created a pathway to winning in the NFL. And it always starts because, let's face it, as bad as the worst guy is on the roster, he is an amazing All-American athlete or whatever, second team. He is an amazing football player. Shane has this percentage of a chance that you make it into the NFL. It's like 1.6 crazy number.
No, not one. It's like 0.00000001 something. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, you mean the whole? You're talking about all college football.
All of these guys are great athletes, right? Here's my point, Dad. Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, go down. George Halas himself. There's no fucking way not one of those guys sits a starter in the second preseason game and says, don't go out there. You're great. You're great. No, there's so many unknowns to your offensive line, your play calls, your everything that you need to go out there and hit somebody just for a freaking quarter. Just get it underneath you. Go ahead.
The third preseason game is going to be no starters out there.
Well, that's
so now
what,
you're going
that's what we're afraid of. But
there's going to be no starters out there, and the guy that needs to work, the quarterback, who is the best quarterback they have, the young kid needs to work with the first offensive line, the best receivers, and everything else. Now, are they going to do that and make that a commitment? They could do this. They could do this against the other team next week, the Giants, because they're going to work all week together. They could say, listen, the first 2 series we go with our first defense and first offense. And that would get some work done with this guy. And then put the young kid in there with him, not Dalton.
Right.
Young kid.
I would be so shocked. We would have to have a celebration if he had that kind of preparedness or intellect. The thing is, Shane, I'm sorry. I want to see Roquan out there just for a series. I just want my players ready to attack the season. If it's not next week, because like my dad said, this is the first time, guys. Let's not forget. There's always 4 preseason games. Now they've cut it down to 3. They've added an extra game to the season. So, yeah, you got to worry about health. But Does it really matter if you're healthy, if you're losing? No. So you got to fine line. At the end of the line, it's like having an operation. You got to have the blood. You got to have the blood going. And the blood is the actual physical contact simulation of reps. There's so many soapboxes this guy stands on only to do the opposite when the lights go on, Shane. It's like reps are important. Reps. This is important. This is important. And then when the lights go on, they forget that those things are important. Now, to my father's point, it's one with which we said we're going to judge Matt Nagy. Is he going to have the wherewithal to say Justin Fields needs time with our best players to prepare him because ultimately he's the franchise? No, he hasn't done that yet. And next week, he's not going to do it either. Although they did leak out that Jason Peters is going to play against the Tennessee Titans next week. That's who they play in their final preseason game. The other thing that's different, Dad, before they would have the final cut down day at the very end. They make all the cuts, you know. Now it's each week in preseason, they got to make cuts and cut down players.
Right.
So what gives me pause here in my head is number 15. He's not out there. He's not out there. So
Yeah.
if he's been given this pass like Darnell Mooney and he's on the roster, it's clear and evident to me Adams has made this football team over Javon Wims. It's like
Adams made a great catch, I got to tell you.
Oh, my God. What a catch that was.
Yeah.
What an absolute catch that was.
So Nagy is speaking to the media, but we do not have access to it.
They're not.
It's probably better off because you get Ajita.
They aren't allowing us to see him speak to the media. They're keeping it behind closed doors, you're saying, Shane?
They'll probably come out and say that they're having technical difficulties, maybe. But
this is so Bears. This is so the
Zach
Bears.
Pearson just tweeted out, no change to the plans for Matt Nagy. Andy Dalton is still the week 1 starter, and we could see Justin Fields get some reps with the ones next week. Could being the operative word there.
Could.
Yeah.
Bilal Nichols has a toe injury. Javon Wims appendix per Matt Nagy.
Javon Wims has an appendix, but he's standing on the sideline with an appendix. He was on the sideline, Shane. I saw him there.
He could have had the operation already. Maybe just
he's in full pads. He's standing on the sideline. He was in full pads.
And Rodney Adams became a father last night and went out and had that catch today.
Oh my God, guys. I am in utter shock that you're not having this press conference in front of your fans because Mitch just embarrassed you after he saved your job, Matt. You have so many things you have to answer in front of your fans, but yet you pull this shit. Oh my God. I know it would make us Ajita, but Ajita to me is exactly what these fans need. Because
I want to make one more comment. It just came to my head. Yep. That
was a great comment. Whoever that was, put it back up real quick. If you have to hide your coach, he shouldn't be a coach. Good job, Scott. That is exactly the truth, Scott. Exactly the truth. Go ahead, Dad. I wanted to give Scott Hopkins a nice shout out because that's a great point.
Well, you think about the Buffalo Bills. Everybody's talking about they're a Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
Well, you go into this scrimmage, you better put your best out there and see where you are.
Exactly.
See where you are. This is a great football. And I got to tell you something. I told Mom, she was sitting next to me while watching the game. I said, Pat, this is a great football team. They've got speed at receivers, speed at running back, a great quarterback, and he's not even playing, right? I mean, you got to get up for that game. You got to be ready to play that team.
The fact that they couldn't get up.
And the score is 42 or 43, is it? 41?
41 to
41, 15. 12.
Kick that field goal, whatever.
Yeah, 15.
Just as a franchise, you have the number 2 overall pick that you went up for in Mitch Trubisky, and now he's coming back to your field to play, you should honestly, preseason or not, you should want to embarrass him.
You know me, Shane.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Cohen,
agree.
I would have fucking thrown Tariq Cohen out in the fucking street, told him to ride his little Batman cart into a fucking wall. Never go on social media and tell fans what they should or shouldn't do. Are you kidding me, Tariq? God, that's embarrassing. Shane, you're 100% right. I would have had my guy so fired up. I would have been
Well, that's
like,
what I said.
we are going to
That's what I said.
embarrass Mitch Trubisky today. That's what football is. It is competition. You going against your rival, you're going to freaking take it easy. Let's not score 41.
Yeah,
Mitch went out there.
Jason Leisure just doubled down and said that Matt Nagy has announced that Andy Dalton is his starter week 1 versus the Rams.
Thank you, Coach Nagy, for allowing the guy that's starting to be working behind second string receivers and your second string running back. Thank you for giving the fans no kind of understanding that there is a plan and that you're prepared. Thank you for never having your guys ready. Thank you, Matt Nagy. It's preseason, Phil. No, I've learned this game from that guy over there. I did it right. You go out every time to play your best. Leave it all on the field. If it's 17 plays, 4 or 104. That's what I want from my football team. Not some bald-headed guy hiding from a press conference in front of fans. That's what this is. Technical difficulties or not. This is a tragedy. And Scott Hoskins hit it out of the park. Tell him, Iceman. Tariq, there's a reason why he's on the sidelines. He loves the sidelines.
Another update from Jason Leisure that Ryan Cox just sent over to me.
Yes.
Matt Nagy added when talking to the media that quarterback Andy Dalton, all decisions will be made based on regular season games only. Preseason games are a complete non-factor in any decision.
This guy.
So how could he make that right now?
Yeah.
The total hypocrisy. I'm
telling you, how stupid is that?
Thank you. It goes back to this point. Read it one more time. You can't make the hypocrisy up. If you fucking imagine if he's saying this to us, we miss out on this.
Well, now you know why they have technical difficulties.
Now they have. Oh my God. I can't. I almost want to cry because it's so fucking sad. Why is there a priest? Tell him, Vito. What are we doing? Remember this before Shane reads this again. The hypocrisy, and I know Cherie, who's producing, will remember this very well. Andy Dalton's our starting quarterback. I told him that, but I didn't promise him that. We told him that, but we didn't. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. And what you're doing right now, go ahead, Shane, is doubling down on that kind of message to Khalil Mack right here behind me. Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, who you're sparring with the other day. Go ahead, Shane. What does it say again? The decisions.
Matt Nagy adds that any evaluation of quarterback Andy Dalton will be made based on regular season games only. Preseason games are a complete non-factor in the decision-making process.
What are we doing? Where do we get the measuring?
What he did last year? What he did last year?
Oh, my God. This is a travesty. I don't understand. I pray to the football gods. Oh, my God. I don't think people understand. Only a blog boy can understand that. They could write a whole story on how football's changed. And Matt Nagy's in front of the ship right there, Aldo. He's in front of everyone. He knows how to do it. This is the new millennial of football. It's decided by last year. Oh, it doesn't matter how we're playing now. We'll just go out there, throw him out there. If he sucks how many series does he have to suck in the first game, Shane? How many games are you going to give him? You gave Mitch 3.
I don't have a Football for Dummies book right here, but I'm going to order one on Amazon right now. I think it's on page 13. It tells you how many reps you get, but check it out.
I can't believe this quote. That is the
But, you know what bothers me?
Cut Shane's drop there because it was I guess that's why they got technical difficulties, because that is the exact showcase. I am so sorry to you fans that live and die and breathe with this team. You had what are those things, Shane? They electrify and then they go zzz, and then they boom.
Oh, the paddles.
The paddles. You had those paddles on draft day. They got you back to life, only to fucking cut you in the back of the throat during preseason games. Don't matter. We're going to make our decisions when it does matter. When we're getting beat 40-0 on Monday or Sunday Night Football, then it's easy for me to tell who wants to play. That's a guy that doesn't have a freaking clue. Dad, I didn't swear for you on that one.
I tell you, it's very depressing. As a fan, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be very upset. I could see why they were yelling.
Oh my God, they were booing. They're booing. They're booing the team in preseason going out of halftime. I sent that over there to Caden and Cherie in the TTNL production. Brennan how do I say his name? Brennan was there live at the game and sent me some great clips. McElrath. Imagine your name being McElrath. You better come to play every Sunday. But I'm telling you, they're booing Andy Dalton onto the football field. That's because you're coach. Alec Baldwin's at the game. They're literally telling him to do this. Put in Justin Fields. This guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow, Matt Nagy. And now, Shane, from the beginning of preseason, when Sean Sierra, Ivan Vargas, Ace, Greg Braggs, Cars, and every fan that we've sent there or have gone there to report to us, no cameras. No cameras are allowed here. No, nothing. Don't do this. Oh, take that down. You can't show that. Now, it's coincidence. We can't show our coach after we've got embarrassed by the guy we drafted, number 2 overall. Weren't ready, weren't prepared, suck on special teams. Fans are booing you at halftime. Everybody and their brother, even Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't know a damn thing about football, understands that Justin Fields is the answer. But Matt Nagy, he needs to see it during games. That
Zach Pearson just sent this out. Talking to Justin Fields after the game, Fields said the big hit that he took was a learning moment for him in terms of getting the protections called correctly. So he's taking ownership. Yeah.
He took ownership. Yeah. Jim Miller did a great job. They had a slide protection, so he's got to know the last man on the line's uncovered. So your head has to turn there to make sure he ain't coming. He didn't turn. Boom. That's what happens. That's what I said. You learn in this game. But if you ain't bubble wrapping your future, then why the fuck is Allen Robinson bubble wrapped? Why is Darnell Mooney bubble? What the hell?
And it sounds like that's going to be the plan next week also, Phil, because Pearson also says, sounds like Justin Fields will get most, if not all, the entire first half. Unlikely they will see A-Rob, Montgomery, or Mooney. Should see the first team offensive line, though.
So none of those guys are going to be out there is what he's saying. But the first team offensive line that they haven't discovered yet either.
Which is completely suspect, right? So,
exactly. Like, you don't even know who your first team offense, but we're going to put the guys that we think.
I'll take Peters. I
Yeah.
take him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Peters right now, Larry Borum, go to right tackle.
Oh, Peters
Yep.
is the I
Peters
had
is
this
your
talk
left
with
tackle.
Jason Peters wasn't coming here to play for $1.7 million if he wasn't sliding into the exact position that he's played for almost 20 years. He's going to be your left tackle versus the Rams. Lock it down.
Lock it in.
Yeah, lock
Jason
it in.
Peters is better
that's
than
Is that who they
Charles
open up
Leno
with? The Rams?
ever with.
they
up with
open
the Rams.
Sunday Night Football in
Sunday
LA.
night in LA.
Aaron Donald's probably scared as hell, coach.
Oh my God, Matt Nagy. Ryan Pace, I know you're patron 222, and this isn't a patron show, so
You're
you're
give him
probably
his money back. Maybe he can get us an offensive lineman.
No, I don't even give a shit about it. I think they have some offensive line pieces.
No,
there.
I know.
The coach, you hitched your wagon to the wrong guy. He did it right. You know what? I say it. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? So he gave up the play calls because he was doing the right thing for the team. But I love to call those plays. It just so coincidentally went on that. You broke that 6-game losing streak once you gave it up. Don't think that doesn't matter. All of a sudden, Bill Lazor's doing things that Mitch does well. Yeah, they're playing shitty teams, the Blair's blog, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but it's the NFL. They can go out there and play just as shitty because they were a shitty team. That's the fucking truth. So you can't take on all of this because you're overwhelmed by being the disciplinarian, holding people accountable. You know who could do that? Bill Belichick can do it. He can call plays, hold people accountable with his look in his eye. All he has to do is stare at you, and you know you messed up. Keyshawn Johnson was on the radio the other morning. I'm driving into work, Dad. And he goes, It's the 4th preseason game. And Coach Parcells goes, Keyshawn, get the fuck in there and run the fit. I want 18 plays out of you tonight. He goes, what? I want to be with my buddies on the sideline. I've established myself. I was in the Pro Bowl last year. I don't give a shit. Get out there and run those routes. Because he wanted the best look for his quarterback, and you give him that. That's coaching. Was Keyshawn pissed? Yeah. Did Keyshawn go out there? Absolutely. Right? And that's what I'm talking. Keyshawn got hurt. He got hurt playing the game that he's getting paid a lot of money for. That would be the answer. He didn't get hurt, though, because these players are prepared to play the game of football. I can't believe
they should all want to play. They should all want to play.
Imagine not wanting to play. Imagine not wanting to play. What do we got here, Shane? There he is, throwing a ball deep on the left sideline. Let's talk a little bit about this guy, Justin Fields. I'm telling you, I get it. Andy Dalton, but it goes back to what I said. All Americans, second team, played everywhere. The NFL is filled with diamonds in the rough, undrafteds going into the Hall of Fame. Don't listen to Blog Boy Joe saying, next week this guy's going to be working at Burger King. That's not how this works. We watched. What do you do? Do you put touch on the ball? Do you put it in the right place? Do you make the play when it matters? And I'll tell you right now, Justin Fields looks so much more confident, so much more prepared than Andy Dalton does. It doesn't look like he's overwhelmed. And the thing that he does, Dad, that Andy can't do is break the pocket and punish you. Right?
Punish you. Yeah.
And Willie McGinnis, Brian Urlacher, Mike Singletary, go down. Think of anybody. I just heard Willie earlier. There's nothing worse than being a defensive football player and you've done your job to perfection and the quarterback just takes off and runs for 15 and now you got to get back down in your stance again. It's deflating. Especially just in that department, you got a leg up against the Rams.
Phil, I'll put this up. We do have the Nagy presser.
That's pretty much how the jackass goes. All smiles. That was probably the day he was hired. Like, I can't believe I got this job either. Where's the Benny Hill theme song? Are we getting in trouble for
that's
that?
Called copyright infringement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what needs.
George knows that one.
Yeah.
I don't even know where George can't connect to the internet. George is probably holding, or maybe George is seeing Matt Nagy's conference by himself. There, Dad, over the middle. I thought Jim Miller got it right again. I'm giving Jim some credit today. Jesse James doesn't get to 2 feet like a rebounder and jump to the highest point and get to the football. Yeah. That ball was, Shane, we always
perfect throw.
Perfect throw.
Yep.
Playing ball in the
For
street.
a guy that's 6'5", 6'6", yep.
Oh, my God. And Jesse James, they're wrong. Jesse James can get up and get the football. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's a problem for people. I just think when you look at Justin Fields, everything he's doing, Shane, is special. And it's something that you don't have. And if it's about winning, you've already decided that preseason doesn't matter by this message that you sent out to your football team. You said it to your locker room by saying that quote. So now your fans, obviously, we're freaking crushing this guy. Rightfully so, in my opinion. And I'm talking about Matt Nagy. And I'm just saying the reality of this is something that the locker room is going to feel, because what is the message that you're sending to a team that gets paid and wants to go to the Super Bowl? A defense that's going to be flying around. Obviously, Shane's right. Shane's right when he says there's a lot of people loafing, even Khalil Mack, who I've never seen do it until today. Shane's right. I'm not going to defend that. Just going through the motions, that's on the head coach. And now
you're not accountable.
You're not accountable. Exactly.
Right.
So you can do all the rah-rah dunk on a fucking garbage can you want until the head coach says, get the fuck out. You are not playing. I need maximum effort. This is an embarrassment. It ain't going to happen. And Matt Nagy's not the one. I always said you need someone maniacal to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. You saw it with Mike Ditka. Say whatever it is you want about Ditka, if you like him or don't. But he had his players prepared. And sometimes they need that.
Interject.
Go ahead.
I want to speak to your patrons because football is very important. You got a young quarterback who is great talent, which is Fields, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But you can't just see him as a running quarterback. Mm-mm. And the only way you can give him that is to put the best offensive lines in you got so he doesn't have to run, and get the best receivers and get him downfield and let him throw the football and let everybody know we're coming after you. That's what you need to do in the preseason games. And then you can blitz and everything, and now he comes out, and now you know you got a superstar because he can do both. And right now, he can't do both. He hasn't shown both to a degree of excellence right now because you don't have the right people in there. There's no doubt about it. And that's what it's all about. You wouldn't even be talking about Dalton right now. If you put the best offensive line in there and you had all this stuff going, he'd be showing everybody he is the right guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone just sent me Olin Kreutz. He basically said the same thing I'm saying. Can you put that? Does anyone have those tweets? Caden or Cherie or Chris Jackal? Olin Kreutz said, well, you don't have your starters out there helping Andy Dalton. What kind of message are you sending? We're all on the same page. Why aren't
Yeah.
the Chicago Bears there? Because to your point, Dad, remember how the momentum of the game was? It was like, oh my God, the Bears are getting killed. Then Andy throws the touchdown, and then the crowd switches. Okay. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here as the head coach and preparing for this football team to get ready for that season you're so eloquently talking about? Can we zoom in on there? What does Dalton get out of being out there with the backup tight ends, the backup running back, the backup wide receivers, the backup tackles and right guard? Who's he building rhythm with? Exactly. This is the guy I'm telling you that needs to be the president of the Chicago Bears. I know you guys know I love him, but that's not just being biased to him. He right there. You think Olin running this team is allowing that shit? Right there. Right there. Thank you, Caden or Cherie, whoever put that up. Thank you, because that's exactly what we're saying here. That was my rant. Like, you gotta be fair to Andy. You gotta be fair to Justin and establish who's better in the appropriate lines on a football field.
Right. I agree with that.
Thank you for sharing that with me, my man Tom, because that's what my dad is saying. That's what I'm saying. You're doing a disservice. You're creating a soap opera, Shane. You're creating it, and they're doing it again by not having.
I think that part's been created for decades with this organization. I don't think that's news. That's a Chicago Bears staple. They seem to do a lot of things backwards, and I mean, all signs are pointing to what we kind of fully expected, and this is going to be a 2 or 3 week audition to let them figure things out with Andy Dalton, and then the blueprint is going to say that everything is going to be Andy Dalton's fault. That's why you make the move to Justin Fields, to inspire confidence with the team and, interject some enthusiasm and some confidence. But that's where this is going. We knew it. I mean, they went out and signed Andy Dalton because they didn't have a quarterback on the roster that they believed in. They didn't know how the draft was going to unfold. They went out and got Justin Fields. I mean, if they had to do it all over again, they probably would just roll with Justin Fields from day one and never sign Andy Dalton. That would be my guess. But
it's such a disservice to Andy.
No, it's a disservice. It's a disservice to Andy, to everybody on the team, and to fans, and the organization. But the thing about it is, Phil, that pisses me off too is they've let this. Everything has been culture. And if these guys were going, if you were sitting a guy and giving him the veteran treatment, but then you go out and see them give the effort while they're out there. Like, I was embarrassed today to see Khalil Mack do that. I understand in the grand scheme of things, the preseason game doesn't matter. But if you're out there, you better be out there to fucking dominate and to fucking win. Because when you're pussyfooting around, when you're not giving maximum effort, that's when you get hurt. That's when bad things happen.
It shows lack of leadership too.
Yeah, it does. It does. I totally agree. And the Bears had this huge momentum wave that they were granted on April 28th or 29th, 2021, the night of the draft, when they went up and got Fields. Everything started to go their way. They top offensive tackle dropped to them. But it seems now they start to get some negative creeping in. You see Tevin Jenkins is getting back surgery, so he's out. And it just seems like they roll with that. So there's some negative. So then it permeates throughout the organization. And you go out there and you see a showing like today where there's tons of questions. And then boom, all of a sudden, and we're also not going to air the press conference for the head coach because that's going to fire. Like if it, the lady sending out the tweets for the Chicago Bears today, the Bears are down what? I forget what it was, like 30 to whatever it was, 30 to 6 or whatever the score was. She's like, oh, it's still not too late for the Bears to come back. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you tweeting that out right now? It's just, I don't know. It's they talk down to the fans. Everything that they think matters doesn't matter. Like a guy on the sideline at a practice recording something. That's going to put this organization in shambles and make them mediocre. No, you've driven the boat into the shoal and sunk it yourself. Had nothing to do with anybody else but your inept collaboration nation up top. And I just don't know why if something can go backwards or go left, that the Bears are going to do that. Everything is difficult with them. If they get 73-yard touchdown to Rodney Adams, fucking extra points blocked. That's the Chicago Bear way. Oh, Khalil Herbert has an 18-yard run. Great. Holding. Next snap. False start.
Right.
So you're behind. That's the Chicago
coach,
Bear
man.
way.
That has been
prepared.
That's prepared. That's the coach. That shit doesn't happen other places consistently.
No,
Right?
because they're accountable. They make them run, or
They make them
sit
run.
down.
Bill
or they
Belichick
trade 'em.
sitting people
Take your
down.
best
They're
ball
fucking.
player. Take your
I'm
best
telling you,
ball.
this
trade 'em.
isn't. Yeah, this isn't hard to figure out. It's
All you have to do is once.
It's collaboration that Shane's right. It's those guys continuing with this coach. You could sell me on Ryan Pace because of the parts he's been able to put in together, and people are going to be indifferent. But the coach, you couldn't sell me on. And it's not even the season. And this is earmarked to what it is your expectations are. There's the book Great Expectations, and then there's Gary Williams talking about hope.
There's hope, guys. There's hope.
But with Coach Nagy, I don't know that if you do have hope. What's this? There's a sack late in the game. Shane, real quick, I'm looking for the video of them chanting for justice. So that's when Justin Fields enters the game. Caden, can you listen to those and upload? I want the chanting one in TTNL Productions. We want Fields. We want Field. However they were saying it. Upload that. But that's when he enters the game, Dad. So you see the fans are on their feet in standing ovation. You got this clear, concise situation that's transpiring with the Chicago Bears. Is that it right there? Is it uploaded? Caden, thumbs up so I know. He doesn't know. No, that's not it. I saw it move.
Yeah, I think the booing part and the chanting, like I said, Phil, that to me that almost doesn't matter because that was inevitable. Like I said, Andy Dalton can go out there and be 10 for 10 with 3 touchdowns, and the first 2 incompletions that he throws, the meathead Bears fans are going to be chanting for Justin Fields and get this fucking stiff out of here. Bring in Justin Fields.
Right.
And it's just that part of it doesn't bother me so much. It's just the you don't see the effort that you want to see, and you don't see you can't tell me that preseason doesn't matter, that it doesn't factor in, because if it doesn't matter, then why would you ever in a million years put Khalil Mack out there at all? Ever.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it just doesn't. It just seems like they don't like. Why not give Khalil Herbert more reps? We need to see more Damian Williams. I understand he sat out with COVID concerns last year. I get it, but he's a 30-year-old NFL running back that almost got MVP. I probably should have gotten MVP the year the Chiefs won it.
Should have.
He doesn't. Preseason reps aren't huge for him. Him getting some reps in training camp is fine. It's just to me, it's so bad. At one point in the end of the second quarter, we had a 30-year-old running back and a 32-year-old quarterback out there getting reps in game 2 of the preseason, when it could have been your rookie running back, Khalil Herbert, that you invested in, and Justin Fields, putting him in pivotal situations where there's a live defense that wants to take your fucking head off. You're putting them in situations where they can learn things. Andy Dalton, just to Olin Krutch's credit, he wasn't learning anything in that situation. Rodney Adams isn't going to be out there. John Vea Johnson's not going to be out there. Chris Lacey's not going to be out there against the Rams in a 2-minute drill. It makes no. It just it's crazy. And it makes no sense to me. And
that's preparedness, Shane.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's you are making too much sense. That's what it all comes together. That was my rant. You're not prepared. You're not using your personnel to the appropriate way of attacking a preseason to get the answers and get the tape and teach, because that's how we teach as coaches. We know this is this glorified scrimmage. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, Laura Screed, and what the fucking score is. What matters is that you're playing with tenacity, that you're playing to the whistle, that you're following fundamental assignments and rules, and that you are actually tackling people, that you are wrapping up and you're consciously into the football game. What I saw out there was a team that wasn't prepared, that wasn't tackling, that wasn't blocking, that was confused, and that everything in their brother went wrong except number one. Number one is out there like in a freaking Chinese fire drill, having to handle everybody's responsibilities and learn in the process because you're so unorganized and overwhelmed as a franchise and a head coach. That's what I saw. And the fans, irregardless of what Shane's saying, it's going to happen inevitably. I think the fans could get behind a glimpse of an NFL offense. So I feel like you as the head coach neglected Andy Dalton, by your point, and make this even more of a shit show.
We have a little more of an update on the booing from Chris Emma. Justin Fields, after hearing the jeering and chants of his name during Andy Dalton's series on the field, Justin Fields said, "I think it's kind of disrespectful to Andy, them cheering my name out like that. Cheer for who's out there playing at the field at that time. Don't boo."
Classy guy.
He's more prepared than the head coach. And he doesn't even, he's scratching the surface right there.
It's a class guy.
Yeah, he is a class guy. I honestly felt bad for Andy Dalton because I know he's better than what we saw. And it's just classy, Nagy, being Nagy. He's just not the guy. Here it is.
We want Fields!
So they're just chanting, "We want Fields. We want Fields." You have created this, Coach Nagy, and now you're hiding behind the curtain with Lunch with Larry. Don't worry, Coffee with Coach will be there on Monday morning. Coffee with Coach. But today, to face the music, you go and hide. And I'll say this for Shane. I don't know if he's put this together. He probably has. He's always been critical of Jay Cutler when he bounced because his kid had an appointment or whatever. There's no other place Coach Nagy has to be after a fucking preseason game than standing in front of the fans the media in answering these questions to help him.
Oh, he was there. It's the Bears. It's Scott Hagel, I believe, is the guy. You know,
could
controls all
Zach
of that.
Pearson ask Hagel, why isn't there a press conference? One of them could fucking shoot it on their smartphone. Why is there no press conference? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Well, if Justin Fields came out and threw 4 second-half touchdowns,
yes,
and the
You're not
Bears,
afraid.
led a game-winning drive, and the Bears won, 31-28 or whatever it was, you can bet your ass that dome would have been squeaky clean and shining, and the visor would have been on full display.
No freaking doubt about it. Where is that? Oh, we lost the Nagy donkey.
Yeah, I took it down.
Okay. That would have been the perfect time for the jackass that Nagy is. I tried to get a few people on that were live at the game, but I can't get anybody. There he is. And that is what Coach Nagy had to say to each and every one of you fans that went to the game and paid to see the game. We had our girl, Thunder Girl. She went to her first Bears game ever. I don't think she'll ever forget it. But TTNL got her there. My guy John Santino helping out. I tried to get these people on the show, as well as my boy Brennan McElrath. I wanted a little taste of what the fans were like, but I guess we get it. We get what the fans are like.
Adam Schefter sent out essentially the same tweet as Zach Pearson did. Bears head coach Matt Nagy reiterated today that Bears quarterback Andy Dalton will be the Week 1 starter in LA versus the Rams, saying, "We need to see him in the regular season," to which Dan Orlovsky replied, "Hey, Nagy, where you been the last decade, dude?" Got lots of reps in the regular season, bro.
Well, that's a Shelton kid.
That's a Shelton kid. Sean Desai's from Shelton. So there's a lot of me and my dad are from Connecticut. Connecticut representing the beatdown of the Bears, because this is an embarrassment in the worst way, Shane. I mean, that's the story. I want to dig some positives before we wrap up this show. I wanted to bring on some fans that were in the stands. Obviously, Greg isn't there because he's at a bachelor party.
You don't even want to see what that bro's Snapchatting out.
Oh my God.
I'm going to screenshot it. I don't want to get him in trouble.
Oh boy. I don't want to see that then. But yeah, let's take away some positives before we wrap up here. Obviously, again, Shane, you got a kicker and Johnson burying a 54-yarder. That was a big kick, I thought, putting that kid out there. But one only has to question, are you upset that they have this extra kicker? Oh, you're muted.
I was playing video in the background.
Oh, okay.
I am not upset, and if I am the GM of the Chicago Bears, he is going to be on my practice squad 100%. For the simple fact, Cairo's got the big deal. He's banging the ball. They get it. Cairo also has an enormous history of groin problems, hamstring issues. And 54-yarder, man.
That was
Soldier Field's no joke. He bombed that
banger.
Ball.
That was a banger.
So
New England has kicker troubles too. Could there be like a trade? Would you be willing
There could be. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. You can see that. I'll send you Johnson, you send me and kill Harry, who is hurt, and
yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, you take a roll of the dice there. But what's that?
My dad's like, you can have him.
Oh, no. I know there's huge issues there, but he's a
talented kid.
Yeah, I would sometimes a change of scenery can help a kid. But
certainly will have a lot more freedom with Coach Nagy.
Yeah. No, but if I'm the GM, I'm saving a practice squad roster spot for that kicker, because I mean I think he's got some attributes there that you can work with, and I think it's important. I mean I would also have to me Nick Foles would not be seeing the field at all in the third preseason game. I would have brought in another young signal caller that I think has some traits that I kind of like, and I'm giving him the reps as a guy that you can bring along on the practice squad also. But that's again something that the Chicago Bears have never believed in, and that's why they've had so many quarterback issues, because they've never taken it serious. And
I thought Foles was going to be with the Colts.
Yeah, everybody did. And it's still a possibility that he gets traded. To Shane's point, I don't think you put him out there just in the context of him getting hurt in the final preseason game takes away the opportunity to trade him. So in that vein,
quick, Raymond, I know you're anti everything that is said here, but you put him on the practice squad. If he's gone, somebody signs him, he's gone. That's fine. You're not going to put him on your active roster. That would be the single dumbest decision ever. So exactly. I know you're still waiting for Larry Borum to see the field after your 87 questions last week on the same thing, but he played today. So
there you
enjoy
go.
Your day.
Pretty good.
Speaking of which, there's another positive. Larry Borum. Larry Borum.
I was so proud when I saw him in there, and I said, and he blocked several times in a row, did a good job. And he made some mistakes too, but he was
wide.
There.
He is so wide.
Great feet.
He is a big man with big bad intentions. Obviously, just on the first look, we're gonna get into more positive. Let me bring this guy on, Shane. We always talk about you gotta have hype to come on this show. You gotta have hype.
It's 100 Crew Hot Takes. Phil and Shane bringing on a fan to talk Bears and what just happened in the Bears game each and every week. You have to have hype.
Phil's always telling me to hype.
You can't be flat. So be ready, be prepared, and bring your passion.
That hype coming out of my ass.
It's 100 Crew Hot Takes. Hashtag Spencer Strong.
Those are big time fucking throws.
We got our guy right there, Brennan. I think he might have froze. Oh my God. We always have some internet issues at the stadium. Brennan, could you hear us though? No. Can you hear us?
Maybe he's at the Nagy presser.
Brennan was shooting those films and has been a tremendous supporter of TTNL. He is 100 Crew. Hopefully, if he pops back on, we'll get him back on. We'll continue this discussion about some of the positives in such a embarrassing game, Shane. Here he is.
There he is.
Put him back in. Grab him in there. There he is.
There
he is. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
He's all smiles. You have fun at that game today?
When Phil's got in.
Yeah.
What up?
Thank you for sharing those video clips that you got. We've been showing them. You actually captured the energy of the stadium real quick. You know, Matt Nagy's hiding from the fans. So here you are, though, in the stadium. You could just feel the whole stadium going against Andy Dalton, correct?
Oh, yeah, man. People didn't want him in there. They were chanting, like, we want Fields. We want Fields. Like, basically get him out. Yeah, like we've seen enough.
And that's really, I don't know how much of the show you've been able to capture. We lost him again, but you know, in Chicago, coming out of that stadium, you got to have a good internet connection. Whatever service he has, seems like Ace, Alex Acevedo. We always have those traumas, but it really is unfair. It really is unfair, and you get the gist, but. Brendan, if we can get you back on, or if we can't, I wanted to thank you so much because he's hitting these dead spots. He's saying in a text to me for giving us those video clips of Justin Fields and the team. Dad, real quick again, I saw Dieter Eisland playing left guard. Then he went over to right guard. I thought he did a tremendous job. obviously going up against the second team, he's somebody that stood out to me. I also thought Redmond, the backup center, did a really good job. Again, this is the second time he's done a really good job. Again, this is at first glance. We don't have Berlissimo's internet here because I wanted him to grab 2 plays that really captured some moments of positivity in this game. Obviously, Larry Borum is, out there playing left tackle. He played right tackle at Missouri, but this was a guy, Dad, that you really loved coming out of the draft. So what did you think? Finish off on Larry.
Well, he made a few mistakes, but he was really good. He's got great, and he's very tough to get by. And he's not going to, you can tell he's a tough guy. He's going to be a good player, without a doubt.
Here's the question I have for you and Shane. With the addition of Peters and that being a given, like Shane is saying, wouldn't you think about putting Borum at right tackle in this game?
Yes, definitely.
That would make weight. Yeah. We got Jason coming in next week, Larry. You're going to be playing here in week 1, but we're going to play you on the left side. I know they want to get him reps there, but it's poor planning.
It just goes back to preparedness again. Like, this isn't hindsight stuff. This is just, I'm preparing to get ready for the LA Rams. And I have to have my best 5. You went on a tirade talking about, well, everything started to click once we got cohesiveness there, and you're putting a fucking crown on Sam Mustipher, when really that's not at all the truth. It was Bill Lazor's play calling combined with you finally figuring out Alex Barnes is in their center.
Sam had quite a few struggles again today. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God. Mustipher again continues to struggle. 100% agree with that. I think we got Brennan. One more shot here with Brennan. Brennan, the positivity we're on here. If you had to take one thing away from this game that you were positive about, obviously embarrassing loss and so many other things to get into, but is there any positives you got?
Fields is the future.
Fields,
pretty much, like you basically can see he's making the players around him better.
Yeah,
look at that. That's all we got, but it is the perfect dead drop to dead to rights. Fields is the positive. He's making everybody around him better. If that's the case, again, Bear Truth 9, I'm totally going there with you. The poise and the moments that it's just not, even with chaos around him, taking that shot. Shane, most quarterbacks would be tapping their helmet. They're out. This kid is the ultimate competitor, and I think it's such a disservice to just put the preseason on bubble wrap again in a completely failing football way. If we could, I'm struggling for the exact diagnosis of what let down that Jason Leeser tweet is from Matt Nagy in the presser we're not allowed to see, but it's just like bubble wrap behind stupidity. It's just like incomparable bullshit. There's no way to go around it. It's just completely.
They're showing the replay of the
hit,
Fields hit, man.
My God.
That dude's got to get fined a massive amount.
He should have been thrown out of the game.
And Sean McDermott made himself look like a clown after.
He said he pointed to his shoulder.
All shoulder. Like, what?
Right here.
Bro, his helmet flew off and his headband. It was, I can't believe, the NFL, I know they want to pretend like they're concerned about player safety. They want to put that out there publicly, but man,
here's another.
I would have been running out to the field, see how my quarterback is.
Exactly.
And get him off the field.
Coach, I was trying to get in there through my TV. I couldn't. I was like, oh no, that was awful.
Oh my God.
Get him off the field.
I was watching it.
Get the doctor to look at him.
Yeah.
I was watching it with Tate, and I'm like, that guy deserves to be fined, removed. It was just a terrible shot. Yeah, Mitchell Schwartz, former offensive tackle. If you're not able to evaluate them after a month of camp, 3 preseason games, and another few weeks of practice, then I don't know what to tell you. This tells his team that any camp competition was useless and their preconceived depth chart is what they'll stick to, not merit. So let's go back in TTNL history, because a lot of people steal from us, Shane. Let's just be honest. I'm not just saying that, but this is right there. Performance over politics. The tape never lies. This has been my fear with one jackass, one horse's ass right there. And the reality of it, and that's Matt Nagy, then the reality of it right there is the horse's ass is going to continue to make these decisions. He's going to continue to make these decisions. And former players, coaches, and people that understand how to be a coach, how to get a team prepared, are coming out of the woodwork and talking about him. Is this Matt Nagy's post presser? Or can you just cue?
That's his defensive coordinator.
No, that's him.
No, it's Nagy.
That's Nagy. He's just looking down.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch his whole presser.
No, I got to check out your phone there, Phil. I gotta bounce anyway.
You got to bounce?
Yeah.
I got to bounce too, Phil.
Look at that. They're both bouncing on me. I'll let you go. I'll wrap it up like this. We're not going to go into his craziness. We will be back this week. Well, I'll say that stuff. Shane, give me your final thoughts, and then bounce. Then Dad, same with you.
Yeah, it just to me, it's more of the same. I think that the Bears are still a very talented football team. I know there was some people in the chat saying that they're an extremely old football team. I think that gets bounced up. You know, when you add a guy like Jason Peters that's 39, there's still a ton of young talent on this football team, but they need more answers on offense. And with this fundamental shift that you're seeing at quarterback, they're not there yet, and they need to. I think you're going to see this wide receiver core. I think it could be very different in the final cutdowns, because you see it. You see a team like today. I believe they mentioned it on the broadcast. The Buffalo Bills are a deep football team, very talented roster that has speed everywhere. And I think Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy and these guys have to be scouring the waiver wire to add talent. You know, as good as Rodney Adams looked today on that 73-yard, touchdown reception, there's still question marks there. You know, is he going to lock in the number 5? Well, maybe he will lock in the number 5 spot, but we need upgrades at number 3 and number 4 also. And who knows what's going to happen with Darnell Mooney. And let's be honest, there's a longevity question with Allen Robinson. Is he going to be here beyond this year? I don't think he's going to be. So overall, I don't want to put too much on Justin Fields at this point. There was a point in today where I was like, Coach, I'm like, time to get him out. That's the one guy you do want to put in bubble wrap. I didn't want to see him get hurt and you lose him for half a season, and then you're really done. So, but it's going to be interesting. You're going to see Jason Peters out there next week, 39 years old. And I don't know, what are they going to give him, Coach? 1 or 2 series at that age, if that, because they obviously don't want to lose him either.
Well, they'll play him. You know something? They don't play both ways. They could get 2 or 3 series out of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As long as they don't step on anybody, you know what I mean? Trip them over. He'll do a good job, and they got to give this kid protection.
Yep.
He's going to go next week. Let him go.
He's Shane Marstall, the smartest man. Shane, thank you for jumping on. We'll see you Wednesday night on Keeping It 100.
What about tomorrow, Phil? Am I seeing you tomorrow? Yeah.
Not going to do all that now. Yes, we are going to be live tomorrow on Patreon. X's with the O's with Bearlissimo. We are going to be breaking down these plays. So if you're not signed up for Patreon, I don't know what you're doing. Get over there, www. Caden can run the banner. .thetapeneverlies.com, become a patron right there. Good job. I did it for you. I'm just joking. It's right there. Tomorrow we'll be live tomorrow morning, 11, right? 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Because you're going to church. You're going to church in the morning.
That's right.
So 11
I don't
a.m.
miss.
Say a prayer for the Bears while you're there.
No, you say a prayer for the Bears.
I do every day. Every day. Trust me. Now, let me get your final thought before we let you go, and then I'll wrap this and put it in a bow.
Well, it's just
X's with the O's.
I just want
up.
I just want to say this. Let's not panic. There's no reason to panic. Everything's going to turn out okay. I'm going to tell you right now, because this kid is going to end up playing, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on this guy. He knows this is his last chance, but he screws this up, he's gone. He's going to make things right, or he's a goddamn fool. So maybe you can agree he is a fool.
I already know. There's fool's gold in the river. So,
well,
but
things will turn out all right.
I
sure they
hope
are.
that you're giving a positive here, and
I want to give it positive.
Yeah,
you got a lot of good players on that team. Maybe you're missing a one or two receivers. That's about it, and maybe a defensive back.
Well,
maybe a corner.
We'll see. You know, as Shane said, there's a lot of talent, and your job as a GM is to be having your scouts searching for talent. You can't always say every time we see pace, well, that's our job. We want to make competition at every position. Unfortunately, they don't do that at quarterback. They just do the politics. We're going to not performance, politics. If you want that t-shirt, go over to TTNLswag.com and get some TTNL swag, because we're trying. My dad's trying. He's wearing a t-shirt there, keeping it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the new picture.
There's hope.
Well, don't hurt yourself, please.
I'm on the chair.
I'm looking at the screen. I didn't know if you were falling.
No, I'm looking at the picture. When I get up, I'm going out of the picture.
Yeah, you can always just move the camera down. That's easier for you. Or you don't want to mess that up, do you? There you go. See?
All right.
Technology. All right, Dad. Enjoy your night. We'll see you tomorrow morning. X's with the O's. Check out that.
Okay, buddy.
We love you. And then I'll
love your fans.
Yes.
They keep writing on the side here. I'm reading all that stuff.
You're reading it all. They got a lot of good fans. BHL swag is coming out. Jay Sanders, BHL swag.
Okay, I'll see you later.
All right, Dad. That was my dad, Coach Atoshin Sr. He's bouncing out of there. This is me, your guy, Draft Dr. Phil. I'm just gonna wrap up. I had a couple business things. Obviously, X's with the O's tomorrow. That is our patron show. If you're not a patron, X's with the O's always starts like this. I just give you a little taste of Cool Kennedy, just a little.
You have to plan. You have to have more plays on the goal line.
You have to have a plan. You hear my dad saying that. You think it's coincidence that that's what we're talking about today on Bears Hour Live, the best post-game show? No, it's X's with the O's.
Ladies and gentlemen, class is now in session. X's with the O's starts now.
So tomorrow we'll be looking back at good, bad, ugly of today's game using the tape, not stats, not stats. Also, keeping it 100, the best Chicago Bears show on the planet will be live this week with former Chicago Bears quarterback Shane Matthews will join us on the show. We'll be able to pick Shane Matthews' brain of what it is to be a quarterback with the Chicago Bears, look at the history, and then talk about his podcast with the Gators and the coaching situations that he sees with Matt Nagy. So you're going to want to tune in, be in the chat, throwing questions at former Bears quarterback Shane Matthews. That's going to be a show to be reckoned with. And then the week after that, as we prepare for the season, we're going to have former Bears defensive tackle Chris Zorich coming on Keeping It 100. So Keeping It 100 will be live. If you don't love Keeping It 100, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't get it. Again, go over to the swag shop like David Kaplan.
Hey, boys, like my sweatshirt? The tape never lies.
That's right. The tape never lies. Become a patron right there. Be there Wednesday night. Shane Matthews and a bunch of surprises coming up in the next few weeks. We even completely have another quarterback, a former Bear quarterback, coming on here, according to sources. We're just working on which day that guy is. So Keep It at 100 will be live Wednesday night, 8:30 East, that's 7:30 Central. Former Bears quarterback Shane Matthews will be talking about this past game, Bear up, Bear down, dumbest tweets. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of dumb tweets. Claudio, the gang, Cars, Bears Nerd, all of it will be live tomorrow. X's with the O's, and we'll see you then. I love you all. Unfortunate today. I got to give my final thoughts. Preparedness. Having your players prepared to win a game of football, no matter if it's in the street, if it's in a park, or it's at Soldier Field in the preseason. You can see energy and effort that a coach has in his team. And that's being as real and as honest as I could possibly be. You're seeing the tweets going out that are in unison, step for step, with what we're preaching at this network and have been. And you 100 crew that have been here all offseason through the draft and everything before, concern has always been with the visor-wearing, bald-headed shoe salesman that is Coach Nagy. There's no doubt about it. If you're paying attention to this network at all, even if you're stealing stuff from us, right there, it's why it exists. And today, against it's where you should be at your best, prepared to make Mitch be in the past, you allowed him to be in the present. And everything else fell victim to your inability to be prepared. Your football team lacked aggressiveness. They lacked talent. They lacked the willingness to tackle and fly around the football. And you lacked your starters to be out there to give your team the best dress rehearsal that you possibly can to get you prepared for the season. And now you've doubled down on your ignorance and your stupidity by not facing the fans live and having Hagel control that for you, and by putting out the single most stupid football decision ever by having it decided then in the season. It is a travesty. It is the soap opera, and the Bears are the team that keeps on giving. They keep on giving us things to talk about. So there, I could be happy. But unfortunately, I'd rather be celebrating a future dynasty in the making. Unfortunately, the guy at the position that's most important, and that's coach, and I've always said that, gives me no hope. He gives me no hope. So that being said, I'll see you this Wednesday night, Keeping It 100 on the Tape Never Lies Network.
Projected to be at 20 for the Bears.
Exactly, Greg.
Oh my God! This is great. I am in heaven! What world?
Purchase your tracks today.
I'd trade my kid for a quarterback right now.
Oh, this is Claudia the Barber, and this is Shot City Sports Keeping It 100.
Chicago's trading up. Yes!
What?
Oh here it is!
There was something else going on with this team because I love football. I play football. I'm a lineman, so I have a different perspective of the game.
You thought I was going to leave you, but I want to leave you one last thought. If you can't get your team prepared for the big time, I don't know what to tell you. The big time is when you get on stage at Soldier Field, and that should be something that is so important to you as a team. When you're at home, you give your best. Today was an embarrassment. I love you guys. This is Bears Hour Live, the best post-game show on the planet. I'll see you guys next week when the Bears face off against the Tennessee Titans at 7 o'clock East. We'll be live right after that game as well on Bears Hour Live. I hope the coach has some pride and they go out there and take it to him. God bless you. And you guys all, please have an amazing, amazing day.
Thank you for watching Bears Hour Live, the best post-Bears game show on the planet, on the Tape Never Lies Network.